Hi, we are going to discuss today the subject which you like the most, that is ENT. This is the subject where you will make mistakes when you get hyper excited, when you will see a lollipop question. So whenever you are solving question from ENT, be attentive. Okay. Now, time to wake up. Right? Time to wake up. How many months you have got to study? May, June and July. That's it. 31st July should be your ultimatum to finish at least 2 revisions and the backlog which you have right now. This is your ultimatum, right? Now what you should do, you should divide your time in 3 parts. One should go for the classes which is going on, new or recorded videos, okay, one for that, one for the subject which you think it's the hardest subject for you, okay, means it can be anatomy, it can be pharma, it can be anesthesia also, okay, it doesn't matter, it changes individual to individual, okay. And third should be your the subject which you have already done, you should start revising also, okay. And one more thing, study for 18 hours. Why I am saying 18 hour? I know some guys will say, अरे sir 18 घंटे कहाँ से पढ़ेंगे? No, when you will say 18 hours, actually you are going to study for 12 hours. Why 12 hours? Why I am saying 12 hours? Because you will use this 6 hour for your entertainment, for your sutta, for your girlfriend. So study 18 hours. The slogan or the dialogue which I like the most. It doesn't matter how you start, finish it like a MSD, right? Why? Whatever the preparation, it was good or bad yet, but it's the time for you to push yourself up, wash yourself up and finish it like a warrior. Why warrior? If you will sweat in a preparation, you will bleed less in the exam, means you will make less mistake in the exam. So it's the high time to start your preparation seriously, okay. And the guys who think that this exam is impossible for me to crack, for them impossible also says I am possible. Impossible also says I am possible. So it's a high time to start your study seriously, okay. Now we will come on ENT. See, you can get 15 out of 15 marks if you will be attentive in your exam. You can correct 15 out of 15 questions, okay. So let's get started. See, this part is your from the pinna till the tympanic membrane. This is your external auditory canal, okay. And from the tympanic membrane till the cochlea, this will be your middle ear, which is also called as tympanum. Don't get confused between tympanic membrane and tympanum. Why? Tympanic membrane is also called as myringus, not tympanum. Myringus. And the inner ear is of cochlea and the nerve. Okay, inner ear will be cochlea and the nerve supply. Okay, now the pinna is made up of elastic cartilage except MCQ except lobule and incisura terminalis. Lobule and incisura terminalis. Now let us discuss something about external auditory meatus. It is S-shaped, 24 mm long. Don't get confused between 24 mm and 36 mm. 36 mm is your eustachian tube. Okay, remember external auditory canal is of 24 mm. Now outer part is cartilaginous and inner part is your bony, and the gland which are present in the cartilage part, this is sebaceous gland, and apocrine gland. Sebaceous gland secretes what? Sebum. Apocrine gland secrete cerumen. Okay, these glands are present in cartilage part. Okay, now tell me how the earwax formed. Anyone? No? Earwax is formed by sebum, cerumen, keratin and dust which is going in your ear. These are formed by three components: sebum, cerumen, keratin and dust. Next, what is this? This is your tympanic membrane. Okay, see how does it look like? It is not fully circular, right? It is oval in shape. Oval in shape, right? And the angle is 55 degree, and the color, how does it look like? It looks like pearly white or grayish white, right? It look like pearly white or grayish white. Now it has two parts, right? When you will draw a line from here, imaginary line, okay, it will divide into two parts, pars flaccida and pars tensa. Now how to recognize pars flaccida? I will tell you. Pars flaccida look like fibrous. See, it is little bit darker part than this bright part in this, right? Brighter part is pars flaccida, fibrous layer which is scanty and unrecognized, unorganized, sorry, fibrous layer which is unorganized. Okay, that is pars flaccida. Now, the rim of tympanic membrane, rim मतलब border is your annulus. Rim of tympanic membrane is called as annulus. Okay, now this is your handle of malleus. Okay, handle of malleus, and the tip of handle of malleus is called as umbo. Umbo is the most visible landmark in tympanic membrane. Okay, most visible landmark is umbo. Now, tympanic membrane is divided into 4 quadrants. Okay, anterior superior, posterior superior, posterior inferior, and anterior inferior. Now, see this bright part. Okay, bright part, it is seen in anterior inferior quadrant. It is called as cone of light. Cone of light is seen in anterior inferior quadrant. Okay, next, this is your middle ear cleft. Middle ear cleft, which is formed by mastoid cells and middle ear and eustachian tube. Now, antrum is largest air cell in mastoid. What they will do, whenever there is secretion, all the secretion from the small gland will go to antrum, and from antrum it will go to middle ear. Now, there is a opening or the door to pass the secretion from mastoid to the middle ear is called as additus opening. Okay, opening in between mastoid and the middle ear is called as additus, and the middle ear is divided into 3 parts, that is attis, mesotympanum, and hypotympanum. The uppermost part of the middle ear is called as attis. Okay, and from there secretion will go to nasopharynx through eustachian tube. Now, there are some MCQs about eustachian tube that you are going to get again and again. They are coming again and again. Okay, now, angle is 45 degree. What is the angle for tympanic membrane? 55 degree, right? And angle for eustachian tube is 45 degree, and the length for tympanic membrane is length for external acoustic meatus is 24 mm, right? And for the eustachian tube it is 36 mm. Don't get confused between these two length. Okay, you will get confused when you are going to give exam, not right now. So remember it carefully. There are 2 parts, bony part and cartilage part. Now what? Bony part is situated in ear and the cartilaginous part is situated in nasopharynx. Now, when the eustachian tube open in the nasopharynx, there is something present on the opening. It is called as torus tubaris. It is called as torus tuberis. And also in the cartilaginous part of eustachian tube, there is attachment of tensor veli palatii. There is attachment of tensor veli palatii, okay, which help in opening of eustachian tube, which help in opening of eustachian tube. Okay, now the function of eustachian tube, anyone? It maintain the pressure in the middle ear. It maintains the pressure in the middle ear and also drainage of middle ear. I know that starting of 10-15 minutes you will get bored, but if we are starting any subject, we should study anatomy first, then only we can link up other diseases. If I will directly jump on diseases, you will not be able to understand anything. Okay, so that's why I am taking anatomy part in the starting. Now next, this is the cross section of cochlea, right? This is the cross section of cochlea. Now tell me first, how many coil does cochlea have? It has 2.5 coil. This is your apex and this is your base. Apex is for low frequency and base is for high frequency. Okay, apex is for low frequency and base is for high frequency. Now cochlea has 3 parts, right? Scala vestibuli, okay, scala tympani, and this one is your scala media. Okay, now scala vestibuli, scala media and scala tympani is separated from. Scala vestibuli and scala media is separated by Reissner's membrane, okay, and scala media and scala tympani is separated by basilar membrane. Okay, scala vestibuli and scala media is separated by Reissner, and scala media and scala tympani is separated by basilar membrane. Okay, I will draw for you. Okay, this is your scala media, right? This one is your scala vestibuli and this one is your scala tympani. Now scala vestibuli and scala media is separated by Reissner membrane, okay, and scala tympani and scala media is separated by basilar membrane, right? Now what? See this green like structure which is called as organ of Corti. So organ of Corti is situated on basilar membrane. Organ of Corti is situated on basilar membrane, right? Now scala vestibuli and scala tympani secrete perilymph and scala media secrete endolymph. there was the question that endolymph is secreted by, they will not give the option of scala media, scala vestibula, scala tympani, they will give option of layers. Now for that, endolymph is secreted by, the answer for that is your stria vascularis, this layer, stria vascularis. Okay, endolymph is secreted by stria vascularis. MCQ, it has come up 2 times already in your exam continuously, so you should remember this one. Okay, now there is one more thing. See, when you will make cochlea straight, okay, the scala media doesn't go till the end. Okay, scala media doesn't go till the end. It will finish before. Okay, so the scala vestibula and scala tympani get connected at the end, and the part where they get connected is called as helicotrema. Okay, scala media doesn't go till the end. Okay, now cochlea is connected to subarachnoid space by cochlear aqueduct, right? Cochlea is connected to subarachnoid space by cochlear aqueduct, right? So the concept is there, perilymph is same as CSF. Remember this line, perilymph is equal to CSF. Okay, next, what is this whitish part? It is called as grommet. And where does it is inserted? It is inserted in anterior inferior quadrant. It is inserted in anterior inferior quadrant. Okay, now this is the tympanometry or tympanograph, whatever you can say. Tympanometry, no need to remember image, remember the theoretical part. Now it is also called as, anyone, impedance audiometry. It is also called as impedance audiometry. Now normal range, which is also called as type A tympanometry. Type A is normal, and it is between 0.3 to 1.6. It is between 0.3 to 1.6. See, right? So it's about 0.9 in this graph, right? Type A. Now we will come on type D. AD. D will go for disrupted ossicles. D will go for D, disrupted ossicles. Okay, now we will come on yes. Yes will go for sclerosis. Yes will go for sclerosis. The sclerosis which is seen in ear is otosclerosis. Otosclerosis. Yes will go for yes. Now B. B. How to remember B? B is your भरा हुआ, where you will see your ear is full of fluid. Tell me. It is seen in no glue ear. Now we will come on C. Okay, which is also called as negative tympanogram, right? Which is seen in choked eustachian tube. C goes for C, right? C goes for C. Choked eustachian tube, that is eustachian tube blockage, right? C. Something is better than nothing. So D goes for disrupted ossicle, yes goes for sclerosis, B goes for भरा हुआ, C goes for choked. Okay, remember it. Now this is your normal otoscope which you will see in ENT OPD. Okay, whenever you will go to your internship, you will see this instrument in every ENT specialist hand, and this one will be kept in your minor OTs. Okay, this is called as Siegel's speculum. Siegel's speculum. This is a pneumatic otoscope. न्यूमेटिक ऑटोस्कोप, हवा वाला ऑटोस्कोप जिससे हम हवा भरेंगे. न्यूमेटिक ऑटोस्कोप. वेयर डज इट यूज्ड? टेल मी हाउ मेनी गर्लफ्रेंड यू कैन हैंडल एट अ टाइम? 1, 2 or 10? No, you will be able to handle from now on only 3 girlfriends at a time. So mnemonic is my 3 girlfriend, not actually mine, yours. So 3M. Magnification, second M is mobility, and third M is medication to tympanic membrane, and G is for Gall's test, and F for fistula test. Gall's test, fistula test, medication to tympanic membrane, mobility of ear, and magnification. Okay, there we will use Siegel's speculum. Mnemonic is my 3 girlfriends. Now next, see in this, here you can see the tympanic membrane has balloon like swelling, balloon like swelling. It is seen in bullous myringitis. Okay, and the infection which causes bullous myringitis is your pneumococcus or influenza, and the treatment for this will be symptomatic. Next, here you can see by the otoscope black colony. Okay, it is seen in otomycosis, that is caused by Aspergillus niger. Nigerians are black, right? Nigers. And this one, the whitish one is seen in Candida albicans. White cotton colonies, right? And there is third one also, you should remember, Aspergillus fumigatus green. Aspergillus fumigatus green. In Candida albicans, white cotton, right? And the infection is called as otomycosis or Singapore ear. These are two different images. Okay, here you can see fibrosis of pinna, and here you can see infection of pinna, right? This is called as this is called as cauliflower ear. Cauliflower ear. It is seen in pinna hematoma, or it is also called as boxer's ear. Okay, and this is called as perichondritis. Perichondritis of pinna. It is caused by Pseudomonas. And the treatment for this will be ciprofloxacin. Treatment for this is ciprofloxacin. Now, recent NEET MCQ. These are also two different signs on the mastoid. Okay, here you can see a reddish, and here you can see bluish, right? If you will use iron on our skin, it will become reddish, right? If you will put iron on the mastoid, so what we will call iron out mastoid. Okay, it will be seen in mastoiditis caused by group A beta hemolyticus, right? When you will put iron on mastoid, it will be called as iron out mastoid, reddish. And the bluish, it is called as when you are in black battle, if you will get hit by the enemy, what color your skin will have? Bluish, right? So sign is called as battle sign, battle sign. Okay, and it will be seen in, if you will go in a battle, you will get some fractures, right? If you will hit on the master, so fracture will be in middle cranial fossa. Battle sign is seen in fracture of middle cranial fossa. Next, see, have you ever been in the village? Okay, no? Yeah, of course. There you would have seen the cart, Bailgadi, right? And its wheels look like something like this, right? Bailgadi ka पहिया, how does it look like? It look like this. So this appearance is called as cart wheel appearance. So rim of tympanic membrane and these blood vessels become prominent, right? Blood vessel on tympanic membrane become prominent and tympanic membrane bulges out, right? So it will be called as cartwheel appearance, seen in ASOM, right? Bailgadi ka पहिया is seen in ASOM. Now, organism causing ASOM, these are Moraxella catarrhalis, Moraxella catarrhalis, H. influenza and Streptococcus pneumoniae. Mnemonic to remember this: the state with highest COVID cases right now, or the state where I belong. MH state, Maharashtra state, right? The mnemonic to remember this organism are MH state. Something is better than nothing, as already told you. Now, cartwheel appearance is seen in ASOM and Carhart notch is seen in Carhart notch is seen in autosclerosis. Autosclerosis. Don't get confused between cartwheel appearance and Carhart notch. Okay, why I am telling you together? In the heat of exam, you will miss small things, and you will think that you have corrected this answer, but when the result comes, you will see how I can get so less marks. So don't get excited whenever you see lollipop question in the exam. This is the reddish blue rising from hypotympanum. Okay, reddish blue rising from hypotempanum is called as rising sun sign. Remember the name, no need to remember image. Okay, a rising sun sign is seen in glomus tumor. Now there are three signs actually you should remember in the glomus tumor. One is your rising sun sign, Bro's sign, and third one is your Phelps sign. How to remember it? We have the mnemonic. Mnemonic is your rising BP, rising blood pressure or right blood pressure, whatever you want to say. Rising BP is the mnemonic to remember. Now the most important sign they are asking again and again is your Bro's sign. If at all you can remember this mnemonic, remember it, or else to remember Bro's sign there is a mnemonic called as GB road. Delhi guys knows it very well. What is GB road? Okay, so remember it. This is, see here, the tympanic membrane become flamingo pink. Tympanic membrane has become flamingo pink. Where it is seen? It is seen in otosclerosis. And the name of this sign is called as Schwartz sign. There is one more short that you are going to tell me. Schwartz surgery. Why I am telling you everything together? You will get confused between Schwartz sign and Schwartz surgery. Schwartz surgery is done in mastoiditis. Schwartz surgery is done in mastoiditis and Schwartz sign is seen in otosclerosis. Next, this is Dix Halipix maneuver. This has recently came up in AIMS exam, and this already came up in your exam also as a one-liner. It is seen in, it is used in BPPV. Okay, just remember the image. Okay, they have given this image only. Okay, and there is one more maneuver. This also came in recent times. This is called as Apple's maneuver. They have already asked you one liner. This is also seen in, used in BPPV. Okay, now next, this also came in your exam. Okay, this is called as BAHA, BAHA. The full form of BAHA is bone anchored hearing aid. bone anchored hearing aid. Okay, and thickness required to put bone anchored hearing aid is 2 to 5 mm. Okay, you will get this thickness of bone at the age of 5. Okay, near around 5 you will get this thickness, and this is used in bilateral external auditory canal atresia. Okay, bilateral auditory canal atresia means your canal is not working, or absence of external auditory canals in the children's, then we will use BAHA. Okay, remember the device without any wire. Clue to remember, this is device without any wire. This will be BAHA. This has been already asked as an image. Okay, in the one paper they have asked 2 images from these devices. The next one, see, device with one wire. Device with one wire. Clue, that's it, no need to remember anything. This is your cochlear implant. This is your cochlear implant. Okay, used in bilateral sensory neural hearing loss. Used in bilateral sensory neural hearing loss, right? When cochlea is not working, that's why we are using cochlear implant. Okay, severe to profound cases only, not in the mild cases, right? This is your cochlear implant, device with one wire. You should remember it. Now the second one, device with 2 wire. One wire is going for speech processor. Okay, so that's why it has 2 wires. This is called as ABI, device with 2 wire. Again I am telling you, this has already came up in your exam, so you should know which is ABI, which is BAHA, which is cochlear implant. Okay, ABI, auditory brainstem implant. Auditory brainstem implant. ABI, device with 2 wires. See, right? One wire, second wire, only one wire. This will be your ABI, and this one will be your cochlear implant, right? You should know this one. Now tell me answer for this question. 50-year-old boy present with recurrent episodes of epistaxis and unilateral obstruction of nostrils. So answer will be for this question. Now you will answer, but in the heat of exam you are going to answer wrong, sure shot wrong, because first option will be your wrong option. Answer for this question is angiofibroma. How? Overall most common cause of epistaxis is nose picking, right? Overall most common cause is nose picking, or also most common cause in child. Okay, when it will come 10 to 20 years, or you can say juvenile, it is going to be angiofibroma. Angiofibroma. That's why there were two hints in the question: obstruction of nostril and 15-year-old. That's why the answer is angiofibroma, not nose picking. And when you are going in exam, you will mark nose picking because this was the first option. Okay, so don't be hyper excited in your exam. Answer for this is angiofibroma. In the adult, most common cause will be hypertension. Okay, due to hypertension there is bleeding from Kissel-Black's plexus, right? And the treatment for this is your Trotter's method, that is nose picking for 5 to 10 minutes. There is one more Trotter's. Tell me. Trotter's triad. Recent MCQ in your exam. Trotter triad is seen in nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Recent MCQ from your exam, right? See, this is the blood supply to nasal septum, which is supplied by anterior ethmoidal artery, posterior ethmoidal artery, spinopalatine artery, greater palatine artery, and superior labial artery. Means 5 arteries supply to nasal septum, but Kissel-Black plexus is formed by these 4 arteries, not by the posterior ethmoidal artery. Whenever you will get question, all artery goes to Kissel-Black plexus or Little's area, all except you should exclude posterior ethmoidal artery does not goes to Kissel-Black plexus. MCQ. This has already came up in your exam. Now, mnemonic to remember the arteries for Kissel-Black plexus is gas. Okay. Greater palatine artery, spinopalatine artery, superior labial artery, and anterior ethmoidal artery. Now, when you are not able to stop bleeding after so many procedure, we need to ligate some arteries. For that, we need to remember first the arterial blood supply. See, spinopalatine artery and greater palatine artery is a branch of maxillary artery. Okay, and superior labial artery is a branch of facial artery. Okay, superior labial artery is a branch of facial artery. Anterior ethmoidal artery is a branch of internal carotid, and the maxillary and facial artery ultimately branch of external carotid artery. Now, artery of epistaxis is spinopalatine artery. Okay, now when you are not able to stop the bleeding, first you will ligate spinopalatine artery. Still you are not able to stop bleeding, then you will ligate maxillary artery. Still you are not able to stop bleeding, then you will ligate external carotid artery. Okay, and still you are not able to stop the bleeding, means bleeding is from anterior ethmoidal artery, right? So we will ligate anterior ethmoidal artery, right? First, sphenopalatine, right? So why we are going on maxillary artery? Why to ligate so many arteries? If you will ligate maxillary artery, so we are ligating both the branches, means the three artery actually we are ligating. That's why we are going on maxillary artery. Still not able to stop bleeding, then we will go on external carotid artery, right? So we will ligate whole the arteries, right? And still we are not able to stop the bleeding, then we are going on anterior ethmoidal artery, right? That's what. Now this is your posterior epistaxis. No need to remember image. Okay, posterior epistaxis come from Woodruff's plexus. Woodruff's plexus comes from Woodruff's plexus, right? Now whenever you will get case that elderly in the winter had 2 shots of whiskey or vodka and now he is presented with bleeding in the hospital, the answer for this is posterior epistaxis. Okay, whenever you will see case seen in winter or autumn, alcohol intake especially within 24 hour, also by NSAIDs, the answer will be for this is posterior epistaxis. Remember, hypertension is not the cause. Hypertension does not causes posterior epistaxis. Hypertension does not causes posterior epistaxis. Now this, see something pale structure which is not bleeding. Okay, this is the image of nasal polyp. Nasal polyp, inflammatory non-neoplastic edematous fleshy growth from the nasal and sinus is called as your nasal polyps. There is difference between strawberry polyps and nasal polyps. Nasal polyps look like pale, okay, insensitive to touch. Insensitive to touch means due to poor nerve supply it is insensitive to touch, means whenever you will touch the polyps patient will not feel anything due to less nerve supply, and it is pale because of poor blood supply, right? Okay, most common site of nasal polyps is middle meatus, Most common site of nasal polyps is your middle meatus, and the treatment for this will be polypectomy, that is FES, functional endoscopic sinus surgery. Now there are three syndromes or three things that you should remember with the polyps, nasal polyps, right? First one is your Samster triad. To remember Samster's triad, there is mnemonic called as PA. PAA. This is my own creation. Polyp or nasal sinusitis. Second will be your asthma. Third one is your aspirin sensitivity. Aspirin sensitivity. Samster triad: polyp, asthma, and aspirin sensitivity. Okay. Mnemonic to remember Samster triad is PA. Already been asked. Okay. Now, two more things. Carter-Gainer syndrome. Carter-Gainer syndrome. Mnemonic to remember is BSP, Bahujan Samajwadi Party, right? BSP. BSP. B stand for bronchiectasis. S go for situs inversus, and P go for your polyp or sinusitis. Okay. Carter-Gainer syndromes, there are three things you should remember: bronchiectasis, situs inversus, and polyp sinusitis. This is also my own creation. Okay. Now one more thing you should remember: Young's syndrome. Young's syndrome. Here you will see bronchiectasis, polyp, and azoospermia. When you will attend question on Carter-Gainer syndrome or Young's syndrome, you will get confused between where is azoospermia and where is infertility. Carter-Gainer syndrome. Due to dynein arm defect, there will be infertility in Carter-Gainer syndrome. In Young syndrome, you have azoospermia. Now, how to remember azoospermia and infertility? Tell me, which generation watches BP more? and masturbate more is your young. They watches BP more, masturbate more, so there is decrease in sperm, so it will lead to azoospermia, right? Youngs will have azoospermia, whereas Cartagena syndrome has infertility. Something is better than nothing. What I can do, my mind is like this only. Okay, young syndrome will have azoospermia, Cartagena syndrome will have infertility. Both has been asked to remember, so that's why I give you this mnemonic to remember. Don't think bad about me. Now there is a radiological question, difference between only dextrocardia and the situs invertus. Now normally gastric bubble is present on the left side, right? Because our stomach little bit is on left side, so gastric bubbles will be present on left side. So in dextrocardia means heart has changed its direction, right? Normally heart used to be in this direction, right? Dextrocardia. In situs inversus, what happens? There is change in position of everyone, right? So heart also changes its position, so does our gastric bubble. Means first stomach also came to right side. It will be seen in situs invertus. These are two X-ray. If at all comes, you should know the difference only dextrocardia and the situs invertus. Situs invertus will have change in position for all. Now the fruit which every girls love but they never eat, it is strawberry polyp. Strawberry polyp. It is caused by Rhinosporidium seberi, right? It is caused by Rhinosporidium seberi, right? And on the biopsy it will show multiple thickened walled sporangia. Multiple thickened wall sporangia. Wall is thick, right? Multiple thickened wall sporangia. And the treatment for this is CO2 laser excision. CO2 laser excision, and the drug of choice is dapsone or amphotericin B. Dapsone or amphotericin B, and the treatment of choice is CO2 laser excision. Next, what is this? This is called as potato nose. This is called as potato nose. Hypertrophy of sebaceous gland. hypertrophy of sebaceous gland is called as your potato nose, seen in acne rosacea, right? Seen in acne rosacea. Okay, there is one more potato which is called as hot potato voice. Hot potato voice is seen in Quincy. Hot potato voice is seen in Quincy. Potato nose is hypertrophy of sebaceous gland. There are so many common names in the ENT. You should know it very carefully. That's why I said most easy subject to remember, both, but you will miss MCQs in the exam when you will get hyper excited. Now, this is your rhinoscleroma, woody nose or tapir nose. Tapir nose. This is the image of tapir. It is caused by Klebsiella. Caused by Klebsiella rhinoscleromatis. Or fish bacilli. Right, and drug of choice for this is rifampicin. And treatment of choice is your laser excision. Treatment of choice is laser excision, and there are two cells which you should remember. No need to remember the slide. One is your Russell body, Andrew Russell body is seen in rhinoscleroma. MCQ already been asked. And Mikulicz cell and Mikulicz cell. These both are seen in rhinoscleroma. You should remember it carefully. Just remember the name, no need to remember the slide. I know that you are going to make slide wrong anyway, if at all it will come. Now, this also has been asked in your exam. This is the classification of maxillary fracture. Sorry, I forgot to put one image. Waters view and Caldwell views. Have a look at it. Okay. Maxillary fracture or Lee Ford fracture classification. Okay. Now, Lee Ford 1. See, line is going parallel to hard palate. Right, in the class 1 the fracture line will go parallel to hard palate. Okay, So when you will have fracture parallel to half parallel, it will be called as Leeford class 1. Now here you can see line is going up and coming down, so this maxilla will float, right? Maxilla will float. So and it look like pyramid, right? Pyramid. So this one is called as pyramidal fracture. Floating maxilla. So this one was transverse fracture. This one is pyramid shape, right? Pyramid. Now this one, craniofacial dysfunction, means the whole cranium is separated from facial bones, right? In this there will be craniofacial dysfunction. This is the most dangerous. Most dangerous is craniofacial dysfunction. Next, no need to remember this image, but from this topic you are going to have sure short 1 MCQ. The topic is nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Now most common type is squamous cell carcinoma. And tell me which virus causes nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Question coming again and again. The virus which causes carcinoma is EBV. EBV is also the most important virus to be remembered, okay, because it causes so many cancers. Now in China they used to eat smoked fish which secrete one substance, that is nitrosamine. This also causes nasopharyngeal carcinoma. MCQ both has been already asked, okay. And the recent MCQ which came, there were 2 MCQ which came recently. First one is most common presentation of nasopharyngeal carcinoma is neck mass or cervical lymph adenopathy. Cervical lymph adenopathy, okay, they will not give this option, they are giving this option. Most common presentation of nasopharyngeal carcinoma is your neck mass. Now just before I told you there is one triad, right? The triad name is Trotter's triad. Trotter's method is used in, just I told you, it is used in nasal epistaxis. Now Trotter triad. Soft palate palsy. It is due to involvement of 10th nerve. Okay. Then there will be hearing loss due to involvement of due to SOM, that is glue ear. Okay, and then there will be facial pain. I am saying facial pain, not facial nerve pain. Why? Facial pain is due to involvement of 5th nerve. Okay, Trotter's triad. Tell me, which type of girl face do you like? Do you like hard faced girl or soft faced girl? Obviously soft. Girl should be soft skinned, right? So whenever you will see soft faced girl, what you will see? Soft है, face तेरा. Soft go for S, H go for hearing loss, F go for face, and T goes for Trotter triad. Something is better than nothing. The mnemonic to remember Trotter's triad is this mnemonic. Soft है, face तेरा. Now there is one more MCQ. Earliest nerve involved in nasopharyngeal carcinoma is 6th nerve. Okay, and the nerve which is spared in a nasopharyngeal carcinoma is your olfactory nerve. It is spared, okay, it is not involved. And the treatment for nasopharyngeal carcinoma is radiotherapy. MCQ already came in your exam, and this is the most radio sensitive cancer. This also has came up. Trotter triad also came up. Then neck mass is also came up. EBV came up. Nitrosamines came up. Most common type is also came up. Okay, everything which I wrote is a MCQ. Now this is the wind side angina. Acute ulcerative necrotizing gingivo tonsillitis. Right, gingiva and the tonsils are infected, right? Winsett angina or Ludwig's angina, and the treatment for this is penicillin. It is caused by Borrelia vincenti. MCQ. And second line, will be your metronidazole. Second is your metronidazole. Now, what is this? This is the image of laryngomalacia, soft larynx. Okay, it look like something like this. It is called as omega shape larynx, right? It is called as omega shape. Now the question they are going to ask you, treatment is reassurance of parents, means the soft larynx will be normal when the child will grow, right? This is the most common congenital deformity seen in child about larynx. Okay, most common congenital laryngeal deformity to be corrected. This one. This image also came up in your exam. Something is called as thumb sign. Seen in epiglottitis. Seen in epiglottitis caused by H. influenza. Caused by H. influenza. And the clinical feature will be, if you will get case, then you will see high grade fever, stridor or dyspnea, and also dysphagia or odynophagia. Okay, these three things will be present if you are going to get any case. Okay, and the treatment for this will be your cephalosporin. Treatment for this will be cephalosporins. Remember the thumb sign, already been asked. Now these are two polyps or nodule you can see. Bilateral, right? And this one is the unilateral. This is just a key to remember both. If you will see bilateral polyps, we will call it vocal cord nodule or Singer's nodule, right? And this is your vocal cord polyp. The common point for both these is their site. At the junction of anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3 of vocal cord. Common point for this is anterior 1/3 and posterior 2/3 of vocal cord, right? Both are due to overuse of voice, means I also can have this. Why? Because I am talking, means I am using my voice continuously, so I also can have this. Okay, treatment for this is, for single nodules treatment will be voice rest. If not get corrected, then we will do microscopic laryngeal surgery, right? Treatment for single nodules is first voice rest, then if it is not getting corrected, then we will use microscopic laryngeal surgery. And for focal cord polyp, the treatment directly is microscopic laryngeal surgery, MLS. Now this is the image of laryngeal papilloma. Also called as juvenile papilloma, multiple papilloma, right? Multiple papilloma caused by HPV 6 and 11. Remember MCQ. And best investigation for this is your bronchoscopy. Best investigation for juvenile papilloma is bronchoscopy, and the treatment will be your microdebridement or CO2 laser plus antiviral, right? Tell me which interferon we will use in laryngeal papilloma. If at all we are going to use interferon, this will be interferon alpha. If at all we are going to use interferon, this will be your interferon alpha. Last image. This is your electrolarynx. We will put it over here whenever we are talking, right? This is small handheld, okay, mechanical vibrator. It will have mechanical vibration whenever we are talking. The biggest disadvantage of this, it produces monotonous sound. Means whenever I am talking through this, there will be the same tone of the voice. Tone will be the same. No high pitched, no low pitched. Tone will be the same. Now see, ENT, you should know each and everything because you can correct 15 out of 15. Okay, in the last, study these important topics. First, anatomy of all: ear, nose, throat. Why? There will be, you can expect 4 to 5 questions from this part only. Why? Because your anatomy also has head and neck, right? Head and neck portion you have in your anatomy subject. It also has the ENT part. So you can accept 4 to 5 questions only from your anatomy of ENT, right? So you should know anatomy very well. This is the most important part in your whole ENT, especially middle ear. Okay, especially middle ear, then the nasal sinuses. You should know there will be short question from these topics. Okay, then fancy names, tortoise methods, short surgery, short sign, right? Then bro sign, flap sign is seen in, right? Tobe ears, lateral thumb phlebitis. You should know the fancy names. There will be question, surely there will be question, and every time there is question. Most common cause of ASOM, organism causing ASOM. Then woody nose is, right? There will be question, there will be short question. Then investigation for ear, especially ear part, there should be one question, 1 2 don't know, but they are asking tympanograph every time. AS tympanogram is seen in the lollipop questions coming again and again, right? Then the 3 important diseases in the whole ear. Quinsy, there is one controversial question going around, difference between quinsy and parapharyngeal abscess. Parapharyngeal abscess and quinsy. Remember, if your option is quinsy, then answer is not the quinsy. That's it. Parapharyngeal abscess. There is one question going around which came in each and every exam in the India, and the same question came up in your exam 3 times. So you should know each and every point about quinsy and parapharyngeal abscess. Search it, read it, whatever you can do. You should know this question, because this is will give you 1 mark that matter the most when you will get 148 to 149. There are so many students standing between this line. Okay, so you should know quinsy and parapharyngeal abscess very well. Then we come on nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Lollipop topic, lollipop question should not be missed. Okay, this is all about ENT. Okay,